Thank you, Chairman Buckley and members of the committee for the opportunity to lay out HB 1883. I would also like to introduce a committee substitute. The committee substitute to HB 1883 simply updates the bill as a Texas Legislative Council draft. The state-mandated exams, including the STAR test and end-of-course exams, are scheduled by the State Board of Education. These exams are routinely scheduled on religious holy days, putting certain students in the position of having to choose between practicing their faith traditions and scoring well on high-stakes exams. HB 1883 would ensure that STAR tests and end-of-course exams are not scheduled during religious holy days celebrated by the major faith traditions, including Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Judaism. Making a child take a high-stakes exam while they're hungry from fasting or tired from an all-night vigil is unfair to that child and yields unreliable test results. Members, HB 1883 is a step forward in ensuring that all Texans and their faith traditions are celebrated, respected, and protected. I'm grateful to my colleagues who have signed on to this bill to protect our religious freedoms, some of them being the members of this esteemed committee. Thank you, Vice Chair Alma Allen, Representative Hinojosa, and Representative Cunningham. At this time, I would be happy to answer any questions, and I would like to reserve the right to close.
Okay. All right, very well. Members, any questions for Representative Bhojani? All right, Representative Tallarico.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative Bhojani. I think it was helpful earlier when we thought about a flipped world, right, where the majority of our population didn't identify as Christian, and what it would feel like for Christians in the state if a STAR test was scheduled for December 25th. What would that mean for students across our state if we were to put the STAR test on the 25th of December?
Yeah, I think it would not settle well with the Christian community, and I think as an interfaith leader, I feel it would not settle well with me as well. That a child should not have to pick between, going to a STAR test exam and scoring well, or going to a church and being with their family to celebrate this important holy day. And all I'm saying is, this important holy day is important to me and others, but there's so many other religious holy days that we are not accounting for when we administer STAR testing. And routinely, it's administered on Eid for the Muslim community and Passover for the Jewish community, and it's happened before as well. And so I just want to avoid that.
Yeah, and those are I was thinking of Easter, Passover, and Eid being the kind of the major spring holy days. And so at least we heard a little bit about Passover from your perspective on Eid. Students are fasting, students would be taking the test while fasting. Tell us the implications of that and what it would mean for a student's performance and how it may handicap them when they're performing on the STAR test.
And on Eid, I recall, being, brought up in Pakistan where it was such a huge tradition where there were 3 days that were given off from school, and we wore our traditional clothes and we celebrated. We had great food and went over to our family members, extended family members, each of their homes, and I went with them because I got money. They have Eid, which is sort of a money for kids, and so I would go to all my family members as well with that. But you can't do that here when you have maybe if an exam or like Representative Jatan's bill as well, that they're not able to celebrate it well. And so we just want to make sure that religious freedoms in our state is protected for all Texans, not just one particular faith.
I think it's a great bill. Thank you for bringing it. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Members, any additional questions for Representative Bhojani? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to testimony.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Chair calls Jennifer Allman, Executive Director of the Texas Catholic Conference of Bishops. We show you registered as Jennifer Allman on behalf of the Texas Catholic Conference of Bishops as Executive Director, and you'll be testifying for the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
I am still Jennifer Allman with the Catholic Bishops, and the bishops do support this bill. Our primary reason for support of this bill is to stand in solidarity with our interfaith partners who don't have the luxury of having the calendar of the state revolve around their religious calendar. And so that's the primary reason for my presence. I will point out that All Saints Day is listed in the list. And I think that throughout the state of Texas, teachers, children, and parents will rejoice. Representative Hinojosa is laughing because she knows where I'm going with this. All Saints Day is November 1st. So there will be no assessments the day after Halloween. And for that reason alone, you should be proud of this bill. But in all seriousness, we think it's really important that we stand with our interfaith brothers and sisters, and we encourage you to support the bill.
Members, any questions for this witness? All right, Chairman Dutton.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any other religious holidays celebrated in the Catholic Church?
Yes, so I mentioned earlier on the previous bill the Holy Days of Obligation. So Feast of the Immaculate Conception, All Saints Day,
Right.
the Assumption. And so on those days, Catholics, as I mentioned previously, attend Mass. And so students would have to choose, if an assessment fell on that day, between attending Mass as obligated by their faith or taking the test. Now, we do usually have an evening Mass available. But, you know, it gets back into the whole concept that I think Representative Tallarico was talking about, you know, it's not just about what you're doing in the classroom that day, but the preparation for the test. And if you're having events in the evening with your family related to the holiday, then you're not as focused in class.
But some of those holidays celebrated in the Catholic faith are not listed on here, right?
Right.
Yep.
But those typically they're in August and they're in December and they're in times where
you have Mass in the evening, I guess.
And we do have Mass in the evening. Yeah. We're mostly here on behalf of our brothers and sisters of other faiths.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Members, any additional questions for this witness? Okay, thank you very much. Chair calls Katie Fruget, Christian Life Commission. We show you registered as Katie Fruget on behalf of the Christian Life Commission, and you'll be testifying for the bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
I just want to echo a lot of what Jennifer has already said. We want to stand in solidarity with our fellow faith leaders. We really see religious freedom as a historic tenet of Baptists, as I've already said for House Bill 1212. We want to affirm and support this bill as a practical and meaningful way to respect the freedom of fellow Texans. I also want to commend the Freedom Agenda, and Texas Baptists agree that religious freedom is a bipartisan issue, and it is the constitutional right of every Texan the peaceable enjoyment of their own mode of public worship. And if I may also just add a personal note, I'm a mother of two children already in a Texas public school and one a few years away from coming in. And I've seen the positive impact that a pro-religious freedom stance can have, cultivating a culture of mutual respect and friendship among children. Several years ago, my daughter learned that one of her classmates was from a different faith family, and that teacher intentionally cultivated some time and space for this classmate to share about their family celebrations and holidays. And it was the first time most of the children in that classroom had learned about a holiday that was outside of the Christian calendar. To this day, the entire class still looks forward to these days and celebrates with their classmate with this childlike joy of anticipation with them as they're looking forward to that holiday. It cultivated a spirit of empathy, unity, and kindness, which I think are character qualities we all aspire for our children. So we are happy to support this bill. We believe religious freedom is for all, and we see this as an affirmation of that fact. Thank you.
Members, any questions for this witness? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. Chair calls Shariq Abdul-Ghani, Executive Director of Minaret Foundation. We show you registered as Shariq Abdul-Ghani, Executive Director of the Minaret Foundation. You'll be testifying for the bill. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
I see you amended the pronunciation of my name, Chair.
I'm a lifelong learner.
There you go. There you go. No wonder you're the chair of the Education Committee. Thank you. Blessings of peace to you all. As Chair Buckley said, my name is Shariq Abdul-Ghani, and I'm in favor of HB 1883 by Representative Bhojani. I'm the Executive Director of Minaret Foundation, where we bring faith communities together through multi-faith and civic engagement. Just a couple years ago, on the day of Eid, the last day or the day after marking the end of Ramadan, a day it's supposed to be meant for celebration, we had STAR exams for children all throughout the state of Texas. And on that day, Muslim parents and families had to decide, are children going to go to school or are they going to go to prayer services and worship their Lord? That was a situation that we didn't want to be put into ever again. So what we did at Minaret Foundation was we convened the major faith communities. We brought together the variety of our Christian brothers and sisters. We brought together the Baptists. We brought together the Catholics, the Lutherans. We brought together the Buddhists, the Sikh, the Hindu, and the Jewish communities together, and everyone else. And we said, hey, give us a list of holidays that you do not want standardized exams on. And of the faith traditions that came back to us, we compiled a list of 11 holidays. We reached out to the Texas Education Agency, and we worked with them over a period of 6 months. And we said, hey, can you ensure that we don't have any state exams on the day of or the day after? It took us about 6 months, but we got it done. And for the next 3 years, I'm happy to say that there aren't any state-administered exams on religious holidays. However, the issue is we have to keep going back to the state every 2.5 years and asking for the same thing. Representative Bhojani's bill enshrines religious freedom, especially as it relates to the assessment of state exams throughout children of Texas. So I'm also a product of public schools in Fort Bend ISD, and academic success is one of the many pathways to improve income, but more importantly, a way to increase community engagement and a better and more prosperous America. As this Education Committee knows, it is central to the future of a strong Texas. HB 1883 aligns our faith and academic values and champions religious freedom in its most basic element. Our children should never have to decide between faith and academics. It eases the minds of our parents. It supports our children and our families and shows our children that we can work together for the betterment of all. You know, for many, faith plays a central tenet in our lives, and nothing should stand in the way of worship. We ask that you provide a favorable report for HB 1883 and champion the religious freedom of our students. May God allow each of you clarity and wisdom in your choices and provide you all with a clear path to success for our children and our families here in Texas. Thank you for your time, and blessings of peace to you all.
Thank you. Members, any questions for this witness? All right, Representative Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, am I correct that you guys looked together, found out how many holidays, and went back to TAA, and then that was 11 at the time?
Yes, sir.
And you go back how many times? Or what, every 2 years, you said?
We'll have to go back because they do their calendaring every 3 years, so we'll have to go back in anticipation at least every 2.5 years to start the process all over again.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Members, any additional questions? Seeing none, we thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chair.